Hello everyone and welcome back to Car Mechanics Simulator. On today's episode we are going to be working on the rear suspension of this car. We've got the engine done, we've got the front suspension done, now it's time for the rear suspension. This thing is coming around. So as always, first we have to do the breakdown. We have to take all the parts off so that we can fix what we can fix. Take the brake drum, the brake shoe, the drum wheel cylinder off, wheel hub, the solid rear drive axle. Then we can get to the wheel hub. Get the rear axle knuckle housing. Then the shocks on the back of the car are a lot different than the front. If you remember last episode, the front we had to build completely. These are one piece. Then we need to take these U-bolts off for the leaf spring. They're kind of a hassle to get to sometimes. But those are going to come off. And then we'll have the plate underneath, the leaf spring plate down at the bottom. We have to take that off. And then the leaf spring itself has two of these little small rubber bushings in it that we need to pull out. Remember last video I said the rear is going to take the small, not the normal rubber bushings. So you're going to have these on both leaf springs on both sides. Okay, we get the leaf spring off of there. So that should be it for this side. Now we'll go over to the other side. There's not as many parts on the rear suspension as there are the front. And we're going to repeat the same process that we just went through on that side, on this side. Get all the pieces taken apart. And we will probably, while we're at it, also pull the gas tank. Because that doesn't really fit into any other category. It's not really suspension either. But it's back here, so might as well pull it out. Now the fuel pump will be in there as well. So I don't think this car had a fuel pump when I got it from the junkyard, but it will be something that I will have to replace. Not a whole lot of parts here. And a lot of these can be repaired. So that's a good thing for us. Don't forget the bushings. I really enjoy this game. I have a lot of fun with it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying watching it. Not only is it just fun to do, you also got the rear drive axle that has to come out. And that's all the parts. Now we're going to go over to the table and we are going to fix these up. But not only is it fun to play the game, but if you're somebody who doesn't know a whole lot about cars, this is a great way to gain some knowledge and learn the different parts and learn where they go and how they fit together. Also in this game, there's the ability to do jobs for customers. So you can like replace their brakes or do body work or whatever the customer needs, whatever's wrong with their car, you fix. And that's a great way to kind of learn when your car is making certain noises and doing certain things, what that means and what you need to fix. Or at least what you need to tell the mechanic to fix if you're not going to do it yourself. So we're going to start with the drive axle here. We're going to put this back in, the rear drive axle. And it was not able to be fixed. So we're going to have to go buy this at the shop. So anytime you can have fun playing a video game, but also learn something very important to your life, that is a major bonus as far as I'm concerned. Alright, here's the rear drive axle. We'll buy that. Get that put back in. This is the beginning of the suspension here. This is the base for everything to attach to. We'll build off of this. Alright. Let's throw the leaf spring on. Both of those were able to be repaired, so we're in good shape there. We're going to need to buy the small rubber bushings that go on the leaf spring. So just like I did in the last video, when I buy them, I'm going to buy 10 of them. Might as well. They're not very expensive, and I will use these on every build I do because you can't fix them. So every car I bring in here that I'm rebuilding, I'm going to have to replace these. So it doesn't hurt nothing to have the extras. One bad thing is the way the view works on this game. It's difficult to get from one side to the other. That's why sometimes you'll see me go completely off the screen and then back. I'll just click out and then click back in, because sometimes that's easier to do. There's a rear knuckle housing. We'll throw that on. See, we got our wheel hub. We can go ahead and put that on. We're going to need one for the other side. So next time I'm in the store, I'll try to remember that. Okay, there's the shock absorber. I'm going to have to replace those. It's rear shock absorber B. And you'll see as I go in here into the store that this is just one piece. I don't have to build this one. I'm going to go ahead and buy the wheel hub I needed for the other side while I'm here. Now I should be able to throw this right on the car now, the shock absorber. I shouldn't have to build it up like I did the front. Now there are some for the back that you will need to put springs and everything on, but this is not one of them. Depending on what kind of car you're putting together, sometimes you'll have to assemble those as well. Okay, we got the... Yeah, I got to put that leaf spring plate on. I almost forgot that. See, these little pieces can get you sometimes because you barely see that you have to put it on there. Yeah, I need to buy 4 of the leaf spring U-bolts. So we'll scroll up here. There they are. And we'll go ahead and buy 4 of them. That's one tip I can give you when you play this, is pay attention when you are working on one side of the car, because down at the bottom it'll show you how many you have that are good and how many you have that are bad. So watch that, and if you see that all of them are bad, go ahead and buy the parts for the other side as well. Okay, put the cylinder on. We're going to put brake shoes on. We got one good and one that we have to replace. The brake drum, both of those are going to be replaced. So we'll go in here and we'll replace the 2 brake drums. That's over here in brakes. We're going to go ahead and buy the shoe we needed for the other side while we're at it. And that should put us in pretty good shape for the brakes on the back. Alright, put the brake drum on. Now we'll move around here to the other side and we'll start to build this one out. Okay, we will start with the shock absorber on this side. Go ahead and pop that in. And then we will put the leaf spring on. Put our bushings in. There are some cars on this game when you're putting them together that are extremely complicated, and they have all kinds of weird parts I've never seen before. I'm fairly familiar, throw the leaf spring plate on, I'm fairly familiar with this basic setup. I've done this a bunch of times, but on some of these cars, throw the U-bolts on, especially like the Jeeps. When you're working on those, they're not called Jeeps on here, they're called something else. Willys, I think, or something. But when you're working on those, some of the parts that go onto them are a lot different than what a normal car has on it. So it kind of takes learning a whole new set of parts that you don't already know. Alright, throw the drive axle in. Now the cylinder up top, the drum wheel cylinder. Throw that on, and that'll lead us to the shoes and the brake drum. Okay, let's go ahead and put the fuel tank. We're going to need to buy a fuel tank. And as I said, inside the fuel tank is going to be the fuel pump. And we're going to need to buy that too, because this car did not have it. Best way to find your fuel tank is just to go to all. It might be listed in one of the other categories, but I'm not sure where they would put it because it doesn't really fit any of them. So I just go to all when I'm looking for it. I find that that's the easiest way to find it. We'll buy the fuel pump over here. I assume it's going to take a normal fuel pump because that other fuel pump is kind of a weird one. that doesn't go on very many vehicles. Alright, we need the fuel tank. We'll buy that, and we'll put this together. And when I do this, I'll show you where the fuel pump goes. You have to put the tank in first, and then you kind of got to do a little weird ninjutsu kind of stuff to get up to the top. There you go. And this is where the fuel pump goes. It just screws right in the top there. And we'll go ahead and throw the drive shaft back on since we've got the rear suspension put together. That way I don't forget to put it on later, because if you don't put the drive shaft on, the car doesn't go anywhere. The wheels won't turn. So that's kind of important. Alright, so now we need to separate the tires like we did on the front suspension, so that I can take the rims over to the table and beat them out, get all the rust off of them and straighten them and everything and get them ready to go. And then we will get the tires and put them back together, balance them, and all of that. The way you balance the tires on the game is you just kind of throw it on there and it does it. But the way you do it in real life is really interesting, because you do put it on that machine, but there's all these little magnets that they put on there. They're like little weights, and they go up on it, and you have to put them on different sides of the tire, different portions of the tire, depending on what the readout on the screen tells you where you need extra weight. It's really, really interesting. Last time I got my tires done, the guy let me come back into the back with him and showed me how it all worked. It was really cool to watch, because tires are one of those things that I don't really mess with. I just kind of take them and get them done, because I don't have the machinery to put the tire on the rim and balance it out and all that stuff. That stuff is extraordinarily expensive, and in all reality, unless you own a shop where you need to do that all the time, there's really no point in spending the money on it when you can just literally take it and get it done when you buy your tires. Okay, we'll throw these together. I just realized I was sitting there telling you that story and talking, and I did not need to buy more tires. I bought them last episode, but I bought 2 more anyway. Oh well, we'll have them for the next build. That's not a problem. Go ahead and throw this on and get it balancing. I think it would be kind of a cool thing if, when you're balancing the tire, instead of just throwing it on there, if you had to look at the screen and place the little magnets depending on where it needed them on the tire to balance out. That would be kind of neat. I know I'm asking for a lot. And in all reality, this game is absolutely phenomenal with the detail it goes into and how realistic it is. I mean, sure, there's some things that you have to do other than what it shows you when you put a part in, but for the most part, it's a fairly realistic game. And it really does give you a good sense of where everything goes, which is awesome. So there we go. Tires are on the car. Rear suspension is done. This was a really quick one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one, when we will be working on exhaust and maybe even get into the body. So thank you for watching, and until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do I. Bye-bye.